Hello everyone and welcome to KDH art class. Today we're going to do things just a little different. Lately I've been doing a lot of three-dimensional projects that you can do around the house with found object, recycled objects, and I decided that I have quite a few of those videos, so let me go ahead and start working on the two-dimensional videos. Two-dimensional means you can see how tall something is and how wide it is. But if you were to turn it sideways, this piece of paper, it doesn't have any depth. It's not very deep, or what I tell my kids, fat. Alright, so a three-dimensional item, not only can you see how tall it is and how wide it is, but you can turn it sideways and see how deep it is. I know it's got three dimensions. It's got 1, 2, and 3. 3 different dimensions, where a piece of paper, drawing, painting, you generally have 1, 2, but you do not have 3. It's just too skinny. This project is a one-point perspective. It is from a bird's eye view of the city. So we're going to do a cityscape. Scape means picture. Picture of what? Cityscape. So it's a picture of a city versus if we've done a seascape, it would be a picture of the sea or the ocean. Landscape would be a picture of the land. And you can continue with things like that. So today you need something to draw with. Pencil, pen. You need something to draw on. Piece of paper, piece of newspaper. Find a piece of cardboard from the inside of a cereal box. Anything to draw on would work. And you need something with a straight edge. Of course, rulers. You can use just another piece of cardboard or a cereal box or something like that that has a nice straight edge. Not your library books. I know your librarians would not be happy with you. So something with a nice straight edge. Again, just a piece of cardboard would work. And if you don't have it, it's okay. It's not the end of the world. Alright, so what I have done is I have already started. I took just an object. No, you do not need to. You can just simply take your straight edge and draw it. But I did a rather large, kind of rectangular shape on my piece of paper. Near the middle, I have it down a little bit and over to the corner, or to the bottom and to the side, just a little bit towards this corner. So I had room to put smaller squares or rectangles all around it. When I'm using this type of straight edge, I do an L shape if I want these to look very crisp. And I went ahead and I did 2 sides of it. Does not matter how tall or wide you make it. All right. So it's a backwards L. And now I'm going to put my straight edge back on there so that it's at the ends of those 2 lines. And excuse my head for poking in there. Now I'm just going to connect them with an upside down L, and that's how I made all of these here. That's why some of these edges are sticking out. I did it with pen. Generally, when I do it with pencil, you can't see it, but I just purchased a brand new camera. I'm so excited. It's a much more expensive document camera. Before I was using just a simple webcam camera. It did great, except this one I can now zoom in and show some close-ups, and it's just a better picture overall. Okay, so as you can see, I have some of these shapes on the outside and some of them on the inside, and I kind of put it on one side of my original rectangular shape. From there, I added a few on the inside and a point, dot, whatever. I made mine extra strong so that you can really see it. This point, this dot, is extremely important. Everything is going to disappear into that one point. And that's where we get the term one-point perspective. Your straight edge is going to help you avoid common mistakes. When I'm doing this with my younger students that are still learning what a corner is and what a straight line is, this is what I do. Go to your different shapes and put a dot on the corner of each corner of your shape. Okay, so obviously I did a lot of quadrilateral, fancy term for saying four-sided, 1, 2, 3, 4, four-sided shapes. My quadrilaterals, because there's 4 sides, have 4 corners. So I should have 4 dots on it. Once you start doing this and you understand, you will not need to do these dots, but if you're first starting out, it helps. Now, your straight edge, and I grabbed this one because you can kind of see through it, so you can see what I'm doing better. Your straight edge is going to touch this center dot every time. So it's got to always, always, always touch this center dot no matter which direction the ruler or your straight edge goes. It's always touching that dot. And it's going to find another dot to touch. So if I'm always touching this dot, look right there, I'm touching another dot. So I'm touching this dot and this dot at the same time, and I'm simply going to press against my ruler or straight edge and make a line. I say press against it because I've had students that once they put it there, they start putting their pencil out here and trying to draw a straight line without touching. We don't want that. That will not be a very crisp, clean line. All right, touching this center point, I need to find another dot. Whoop. Here's one on the bottom. All right, so I'm touching both, press against my ruler, make my nice little straight edge there. Now, pretty much 2 rules exist in one-point perspective on this cityscape from a bird's eye view project. 1, you must always touch this dot. 2, you cannot go through any of these, again, we did quadrilaterals, any of these quadrilaterals. You're not allowed to go through it. Alright, so with that in mind, I'm touching this dot and I'm going to go towards my next one. Uh-oh, that's my quadrilateral. I'm not allowed to go through it. Well, if I can't go through it, that means I can't put a line on this side. So I cannot use this dot. Sorry. Can't use it. And if I come over to this dot over here and touch that center point, so rule 1, must touch that vanishing point. Rule 2, you cannot go through a shape. You just have to stop. Sound effects help. Sorry guys. So you hit the brakes, you don't get to go to that dot. So I am done with that quadrilateral. Well, let's find another one. This one, again for my little ones, find your corners and put a dot on each corner. Just like that. Then, rule 1, you must touch your vanishing point. Okay. Rule 2, you cannot go through a shape. So I'm starting with this dot, the vanishing point. Didn't go through any shapes. I'm good to go. That's 1. Alright, I must touch the vanishing point. I'm going to come to this one. Believe it or not, it is not touching the quadrilateral. So push against that ruler so you have a straight line. Very important on this one. Look how close they are. But that's what makes this project so cool. Alright, let's come over to this next one and the vanishing point, and let's find out what's happening here. Touching that, touching that. Alright, rule 1, must touch the vanishing point. Rule 2, you cannot go through a quadrilateral shape. So, I had to put the brakes on right there, because it just bumped into another shape. Once you start doing this, my students are like going, oh, I get it. It looks so cool. Great. That's what we want. Alright, so let's find another one. So we can start with these inside ones. Okay. Find my corners. Find my corners. I already know this one I'm not going to be able to get here because it's going to go through my shape, and I'm not allowed to do that. But I'm going to find that corner anyways, even though I know I won't be able to use it. Alright, rule 1, must touch the vanishing point. Alright, there's my first dot. Rule 2, cannot go through another shape. It is not. Boom. Rule 1, must touch the vanishing point. Rule 2, cannot go through another shape. Connect them. Right. Rule 1, must touch the vanishing point. Rule 2, cannot go through a shape. Make sure I'm touching both. Now you can see the little bird flying over the top of the buildings looking down, or in more recent technological terms, a drone shot. It could be a drone's eye view or an airplane's point of view, although hopefully the airplane is not that close to the buildings. And we're going to continue. Now, I had already done this with ink. I will not be able to erase it, but even these outside ones are going to go to the vanishing point. So you can still, if you need to, mark your corners or not. That's up to you. So, must touch vanishing point. Stop. Now, heads up, just because it touched this corner doesn't mean all of these are going to go to some other corner. Remember, they're always going to that vanishing point. Again, I've had students, I love how they think. They think very differently. All right, from here, I'm trying to get to rule number 1, touch the vanishing point. Rule 2, stop when you get to another shape. Now this one, again, I cannot erase. I did it in ink. So I'm going to use that for some other thing. I will find a way. Or I'll just color it really dark. Rule 1, vanishing point. Rule 2, cannot go through another shape. Stop right there. Can't do that one. That'll go through the roof of this one. And vanishing point. Can't do it. I'm going to turn my paper just because that makes it easier for me. Here's the vanishing point. Stop when you get to another shape. Here's this one. And they're almost exactly the same right there, but just that little bit of space makes it look super cool. Alright, touching my vanishing point. Stop when I get to another shape. Touching my vanishing point. Stop when I get to another shape. Touching my vanishing point. Stop when you get to another shape. My buildings are starting to come to life. Next one. Touch. Go. Nope. Touch. Go. Touch. Go. Turning my paper. Touch. Go. Touch. Now I have discovered that I always like to start with the ones that are closest, because in this case, I think I lucked out. If I come in later, I might accidentally be going on top of another shape. Now when I say on top of another shape, that includes these new lines that we're making. So can't do, can't do. Cannot do that one. Just did that one. Moving on. Stop. Moving on. Stop. Keep turning my paper. Moving on. Stop right there. And looks like this is my last shape. Boom. Can't do that one. Boom. Can't do that one. Alright, now all of my buildings are done. From here, you have all kinds of freedoms to do. For starters, you could make little roads coming out and do like a little map. But I saw this project, I believe it was on Pinterest, that an art teacher did with her students, and I loved it. So she did value scale. Value means the dark, the medium, and the light of a color. So when you're talking different values, you have dark, mediums, lights of all kinds of colors out there, whether it's blues, pinks, oranges, reds, that's the medium in the middle. So you get different values. These are all pinks, but they're different because this one is darker than this one, and so on and so forth. So what this art teacher had the kids do is different values on their buildings. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to pick one side of my building, and I'll show you different things on these different buildings. And I'm going to go all the way down to the vanishing point. Now, I know some of us art teachers look like we're going super duper fast, but even we slow down when we get down here to the lines and small little areas. No, you do not have to stay inside the lines unless your concept requires that you do that. want my students to be able to do both, be creative and create things outside of the lines, and have the muscle control to stay inside the lines. All right. And shape itself will be a different value than that side. Again, as I'm getting here along my little corners and sides. When I'm in the middle, I can go faster. But as I get on the other side, and I like going in the same direction. I don't like doing a little bit this way, a little bit this way, a little bit that way, a little bit this way. I like my lines to all go in the same direction. It makes it look more clean, less scratchy looking. And when you start adding texture and stuff, it starts to teach you to go certain ways on that. All right, let's see. This should be my medium. Again, slow down here. Other little secrets that artists have is, since I know this value is lighter than this one, if I go over here, you're not going to see it, so I can go a little bit faster when I'm next to that, but I'm going to have to go slower when I'm next to this value because it could cover the lighter value, and I don't want it to look sloppy. So I'm staying inside my lines as carefully as possible. And again, trying to go in that same direction. Again, I would have erased these if I could, but that was done with pen, so I'm not able to. Uh-oh. I lost my pencil tip. Luckily, I have this high-tech pencil sharpener nearby. Heads up with your colored pencils, since they are softer than a regular pencil, you don't always want to use a pencil sharpener that plugs into the wall. It will eat up your colored pencils super fast. And you don't want to do that because somebody has to buy them. And I tell my students, because we reuse these same colored pencils year after year until they're these little bitty nubs before I start replacing them. So they have to learn to take care of their equipment. Alright, so you could do value scale, or you could do this really cool effect of adding windows. But here's the thing. When you're adding your windows, I'm going to add this little line right on top of my pen line that I can't erase, so I'm going to use it. And then I'm going to do another line, but I'm going to make this one a little bit closer than that one. See, this is wider, this is skinnier, and a little bit closer, and a little bit closer. Uh-oh. Didn't go all the way to the edge, shame on me. And a little bit closer. A little bit closer. And then I pretty much can't go closer than that, so I'm just going to color it carefully with my pencil. And right down here, I'm going to make it even darker. Alright, from there, I'm just going to darken this one up just a a wee bit so we can see it better. Then I can add, if I want, the vertical lines of my building, or I can leave it like that. You get buildings with all kinds of neat designs on it. If I'm going to add, where's my vanishing point? Must touch the vanishing point. And I think I'm going to distinguish where the windows are. I'm going to go here, and then I'm going to go somewhere in the middle, there, and I might even do almost at the end, just on this top line. I'm not taking it all the way up to the roof of the building. I have my reasons, but let's find that vanishing point. Touch my window and stop when I get to another shape. Going to my window, touch my vanishing point, stop when I touch the building, go to the next one. Now please don't make your dots as big as I am. I'm doing it to make a point. If you need to, great. If you don't, don't. Alright, so my point here, point, vanishing point, is everything, even the windows are all going to go towards that vanishing point. So here's the top of my building. What I like to do for my rooftops is put a nice little edge on there. We always see them movies, those action movies, where they're running along this edge of the building, looking all cool. To be able to get up onto the building, there's usually stairs that are covered, so it's kind of like another building on top of the building, maybe even a water tower. And, ooh, look at my smart kids, already realized, oh, she's even making that go to the vanishing point. And I have one more side. I could also go down a little bit. And you start creating the top of your building. I left this open in case I wanted to do something like a logo. Or the name of my building. It's a bank. Bank buildings always have super big buildings. Usually downtown, but they, of course, let other people lease out. And you can go and decorate all of these. But wait, we are not done. Let's make this even more cool if you want to. And we're going to take our scissors. Now we are not going to cut our buildings, but we are going to cut as much as we can around on this little piece here. This is where the magic starts to happen. Look, I have my instructions on the side. 1 point perspective, cityscape, cutout equals 3D look is intensified. That's because I'm so ADHD that all these projects, okay, I'm going to stop when I get to my building. My brain kind of forgets within a minute or so of me thinking of an idea. Then I can't remember what I was going to do. That was so cool. So I'm learning to label my papers. Okay. Let my camera keep keep up with my movements. Again, not cutting the buildings, cutting around the buildings. I may have cut that little corner off. Get this out of the way. This is a super duper fun, cool project. One point perspective, and then on top of it, you're adding even more perspective by having it fall off our paper. Make this go a little bit faster. Alright, for scissor safety, I always remind my kids, turn the paper. Don't try and turn the scissors. And you want to use the inside of the alligator's mouth, not the tip of it. And that helps with control. And it just makes you better at cutting paper. You're less likely to tear it and mess it up. Alright, almost done. Looks like I just have a couple more little snips here. And voila, look how fancy that has made our drawing, and why your art teachers are always saying it's okay if your artwork goes off the page. It creates movement. In this case, it looks like the movement is coming towards you. Again, this is like a bird's eye or a helicopter or a drone's eye view of the city, where they see the tops of the buildings, but not so much down here at the base. I hope you enjoyed this project. Get creative. I've seen people put helicopter landing pads on the top of the buildings, water towers, vent stacks. They've even put gardens up there. Let your imagination go wild. Research it, come up with some ideas of some of the buildings out there, and to my future architects, be creative. Bye.